welcome to the podcast. It's episode 6 and it's a World Cup special with Lew Fitz and Alice India.
I did not catch that one, but I do have a theory on this whole World Cup business.
Yeah, go on.
Ooh.
Because if you think about it, because we're doing... this is my hot take that is going to be all over The Athletic tomorrow. Because the World Cup is happening in winter and normally it doesn't.
Yep.
What's happened is everyone's so tired because they're in the middle of the Premier League and now they're all just like, I'm so tired. And so they're all doing shit. So all these teams where it's like your local hairdresser is on the national team. They are absolutely smashing it and they're doing so well because they're not all sad and tired and upset because they're being bullied on the internet. I mean, maybe they are, but not for football reasons.
This was a really silly one to record. It was very, very fun. I had so much fun. Me and Alice and Lew, we go way back. We started our comedy careers together. So it was great to get new perspectives and old, as Alice India is a pretty new football fan. And Lew's watched it all his life. And you don't really hear that on most podcasts. So I wanted to bring that to you today. They were so much fun. It was a great podcast. If you are watching this on YouTube, there is a minor blackout, I think around about 18 minutes. I don't know the timestamp. Don't worry, it's not you, it's us. The cameras just went slightly, but you won't lose audio and it's only for a couple of seconds. Anyway, enough of me waffling. Enjoy this podcast. Hello and welcome to the Big Sport Pod. It's episode 6 and today I have got 2 fabulous comedian guests. I've got the wonderful Lew Fitz.
Yay! Is that what you're pointing at?
I was just like, do something.
Oh,
Do
right.
something. And the wonderful Alice India Garwood.
Hello.
Do you prefer Alice India or Alice India Garwood?
It's Alice India because that's my comedy name.
Okay, sorry. Alice India.
Hello.
But I often call you AIG for short,
that's
so if you
fine.
hear that happens. But I'm very excited to have you here. We are going to be talking about, obviously, the round of 16 that has now been done. We're recording this on a Wednesday, so it's just before all of the quarterfinals kick off.
Yep.
And we've just seen all of the round of 16. So this should be released on Friday if you're watching this. So fingers crossed if I get my editing done in time. So I'm going to talk to my lovely guests. If you're new to this podcast, it's a sport podcast that is about all sport, but this is a World Cup special, so we're focusing in on the World Cup. There's also some interviews that have been featured as well with the likes of Andrew White. We talked about being gay sports fans, and Keegan Hurst, who is a wonderful rugby star. So do listen to those. But first, I want to talk to my guest, Alice. I'm very excited to have you on because you are a sort of new football fan.
I'm so new, I don't know what round of 16 means.
So round of 16 is the 16 teams before you get to the quarterfinals.
The first bit.
The first bit of the knockouts.
The bit before it becomes, it's like, I've been describing it to my boyfriend, is the bit in a reality TV show before you get to know their personality, so you're not that invested. So if you miss an episode, it actually doesn't matter. So that's how I've been treating it.
And what sort of got you interested in football then? Because I'm always interested in sort of new adopters of football.
I've had, I was about to say several boyfriends. I've had 2 in my whole life. But both of them have tried to get me into football. But my current boyfriend, he's the only one who's managed to do it. I don't know how. I think it was through gambling mainly.
Oh.
I put £3 on a Swindon game and won. And then I've just been a lifelong fan ever since.
I'm delighted you started with League One as a location to start your gambling.
I knew a surprising amount about them, but then I didn't realise, like, League One and League Two teams, how quickly their players get poached. So my, like, affinity with the team just, like, evaporates after, like, 6 months or whenever the window thing.
Yeah, Bristol City fan here. I have lived that life. Lew Fitz, you are a Man City fan.
Yes.
So have you chosen Swindon as your team?
Yeah,
Or is
that's-
Swindon are my local team, and then unfortunately Man United is my team.
Why Man United?
I just know the most about them, so I can get into, like, the narrative.
Can we do a wee quiz?
a wee
I'm
quiz?
not going to know as much about them as you.
No, I don't mean like that. Just not a quiz, but like, what do you know about Man? Why Man United? Because I find
A bunch of them died in that plane crash. That was the whole thing. They're one of the richest teams either in the world or if not at least in the Premier League.
Right.
My son plays for them, Harry Maguire, shout out. It's just I guess it's like an easy team to get into really because they're the one that like if you ask like a 4-year-old boy like who do you support, they're like, oh, Man United. They don't know what that means yet. I don't know, I just know more about
It's their first words.
them.
It's often with kids.
Ferguson, he's a thing.
Did you always have them as your team, or is it just a sort of a newer?
me and my boyfriend were trying to work out who my team was
Yeah.
because as I started to develop as a football fan,
Yeah.
and we were trying to work out who I cared the most about, and I was most invested in United games when it came to gambling, because that's how I understood like how many corners to put on my bet builder and who to put down for most likely to be sent off, Pogba. So things like that. Pogba is Man United, right?
Was.
But now
Was
he's
he
not.
ever?
Was he ever? Yeah. So some fans would argue.
Bit of
Hey,
changing room
AIG.
bants, yeah.
I only know that it's French, innit?
I like it. It feels like a football puberty moment where you've sort
It
of
is
grown
like
to
football
sort of.
puberty. It's like I've started dating for the first time and I'm like trying to work out how to like finger someone.
Both teams have red shirts. Maybe you're drawn
Yeah,
to red.
Swindon and Man United. You like.
Love a bit of danger, love a bold colour.
So, Lew Fitz, you're a Man City fan. How's that going?
Fine, I think, yeah. I'm a little bit bored with them, frankly, because we win quite an awful lot, which I know sounds quite boring, but I've enjoyed the brief World Cup because you get to see all the different players and you get to see all of our boys out there playing for their teams.
Yeah, and with a bit more passion.
Yeah, potentially. Or a lot of them are playing instead of being on the bench. But yeah, fun. I've been a City fan for ages and it's fun. England, more heartbreaking though, a little bit. But I'm happier being an England fan than a City fan.
Because there's more disappointment.
Yeah, there's more on the edge. There's more to get. There are. It could go wrong, and it might go wrong next week against, on Saturday against France. But
I really get that. As a Bristol City fan who is so often in a state of disappointment, that I look at people who have teams that just win all the time. I'm like, God, that'd be boring. It's a bit like when you play FIFA or play a computer game and you're like, oh, I'm too good at this. Like any computer game, as soon as you get too good for the game, it becomes really boring. You're like, I just want it to be harder.
what do you think, Al?
I don't know because I support United, so that's not a thing. Is enjoying a game. Are you supposed to like the team more that they lose more?
That is essentially what we're saying, which seems mad in the cold light of day,
Adds
doesn't
drama.
it? But
You want like a mid-league team.
but why is that? What is the psyche of me wanting that and you wanting
It's
that
like
and England
Liverpool
fans
after a
getting
while.
that?
It was so boring to watch because you're like, oh, they got a goal. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. I think everyone just wants jeopardy, but they want to come out on the right side of jeopardy. So everyone wants to be that sort of underdog and be like, oh, the stakes are against us. This is all against us. And then actually you come out and you win. And that's kind of like, oh my God, there's no euphoria like it. When we beat Man United 2-1 in the Carabao Cup,
We were in a hotel.
We'd just done a terrible gig in South Kensington.
And we ran
ran
a hotel and
I was
fucked
going to say, why were you in a hotel?
in celebration. And Emsley was there, probably. He
Yeah.
always is.
He always is, yeah. My comedy double partner has
Filming
not
at
been
the
on the
back.
podcast yet.
Not
But
like-
yeah, I that's really interesting.
He's gays, doesn't he?
Yeah, he hates the gays. So many edit points.
Famously. I have a quick question. Are you new to the England team as well?
No, because I watched the Euros, but again, didn't watch the first bit because their personalities hadn't come out yet. And that's where I first met my son.
Harry, so why? Because you've met my brother. My brother gets caught. Richie Fitz, big shout out to you in jail, keeping it tight. But my brother looks like Harry Maguire. He gets called slabhead by his friends.
I'd say your brother is a much more attractive version of Harry Maguire. He's got that prison chic.
Yeah.
Anyway, big shout out to you in prison.
Like he might steal a car, but
Yeah.
Is your brother actually in prison?
No.
Oh, okay.
Imagine this podcast is massive in prison.
Why? Sorry, Harry Maguire being your son.
Oh, yeah,
What?
my son.
Yeah.
We've been on a bit of a journey.
Okay.
When I first saw him, and I think it was in a game against Germany in the Euros, I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
Yeah.
It might have been. And he came out on the pitch, and I grabbed my boyfriend. I was like, I hope he never hears this because he is my son. I grabbed my boyfriend. I was like, that is the ugliest man I have.
Oh God.
And he was like, what are you talking about? That's like the captain of Man United. And I was like, what is? And I was like, I think I was a little bit on edge because I was meeting his best friend for the first time. So I was probably like showing off a little bit. But I was like, what is that? Anyway, we just went on a journey together. I can't explain it. By the end, he was like, I just kept talking about him. And my boyfriend's like, I think you love Harry Maguire. And I was like, yeah, he's my son. It's now moved on to possibly the fact that I might now have a crush on him.
Oh.
But I do still refer to him as my son, and mainly because he gets bullied so much. Like sometimes I'll go on his Instagram account and read all the mean comments. Like he posted a picture of him and his wife, shout out Fern, and people on his wedding day, they were like, keep him on the honeymoon, don't let him back, and stuff like that, and like honeymoon on the bench. And I was like, Harry,
Yeah, he does get more stick than most, doesn't he?
He gets a huge amount of stick. We were saying this in the last podcast of just like how hard that must be on your mental health to just be the sort of butt of everyone's
Have
joke.
you seen him on the pitch now? It's so sad. Like, he just looks like a group of friends. Everyone's making a joke and he's like, yeah. It's just horrible.
I thought that about Trent because I watched the England Insider on the YouTube videos where they're like, oh, it's them getting off the bus and it's them giving their passports to the person to like I get and I see and I watch them talk to each other. Oh, Luke Shaw's getting on with Phil Foden. That's nice. Two little short people.
Foden, Grealish, and Saka get huge airtime in the sort of England camp. I've noticed.
Best players.
They are really great, but they obviously are the biggest characters.
You're not filming Conor Cody, are you? Like, although he is.
I think he's.
And they're all nice lads and they're all good dads if they are dads. But anyway,
I mean, most of them are.
What was that?
Even Foden's a dad.
Foden.
Serious?
Oh yeah, at 18, Phil became a dad for the first time.
Sterling's got like two,
three, I think.
Three kids.
Three kids.
They all have. The thing is,
is it because in the summer you have time off?
I think old school managers used to encourage players to have families and kids because it chills them out, settles them down. They're not out at all bar one.
That's interesting.
So it was
Jack Grealish hit that man with a car, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
So I read-
and now look at him.
Has he got a kid?
All he is just got calves. No, he hasn't got a kid.
Then why did he stop hitting people with cars?
I think just
Yes.
general
But
aging.
yes.
It's fine. I'll just send them, the lawyers, your details. I think there's something quite old and traditional about football players that they grow up in such a footbally environment where they are just like all they do is football, that they have a quite traditional approach most of the time. Okay, there are obviously issues with footballers and dating, but most of the time they will have kids and sort of settle quite young, and that seems to be like a thing that is more common amongst football players than probably the rest of the population.
Big beard, you could.
Yeah.
They all.
And Alexander Arnold, he's big into pregnant ladies. That's a thing, isn't it?
Now, that's who I was. Right.
Sorry, what I've missed? I feel like I've missed
He was like a teenager. I don't know if he was like on the youth team yet or something. And apparently someone dug out all these old Instagram messages. I'm not sure if he was chirping someone who was pregnant or he was basically being like, I'm going to get you pregnant. And I was like,
She AIG's bang on.
Okay, this is great.
I'm in it for the goss.
I'm gonna be honest, there's never been this much goss on the pod.
The upshot, Twitter, what do you call it? Profile group. They did a scumbag rating out of 1 to 10 for every England player, and Trent came in at like 10 out of 10. And
Really?
and as AIG said, the person screenshotted what he was saying to this pregnant fan, and it's like, somebody messaged him saying, "Oh, can we get a signed shirt? Thank you, we love you." Blah blah. It's like, "Oh, does your missus know that she's going to get rooted by a Premier League player?" Like, all that horrible stuff.
Oh my God.
It
was that bad.
I'm just going to say, this is this kind of thing that I hate in sport, because that we'll talk again. I've talked before about the documentaries on football. So the All or Nothing documentaries. There's lots of documentaries now, and that seems to be the thing. So you get to know the football players. I miss the days where you just didn't know.
Yeah,
and because I just
assume that
I am so uninterested in reality TV that turning football into it is like Banksy being painted over. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a work of art. It's not a very good metaphor.
Yeah,
sure.
Like, is Banksy the footballer? Or
No, Banksy's like the good guy in this
Banksy
metaphor.
the grass?
Maybe actually would have been better to have gone with a good art, like a sort of really classic artist like a Rembrandt.
Are you saying Trent Alexander-Arnold was Banksy?
No, I think that
believe it.
I can't. Oh my God, we've broken the news. It's pretty good.
Alex, imagine if it was a footballer.
I'm doing it nice. It's going to be nice pictures of me. It's going to be pictures of me and me not on the England team because I've not played a minute and I'm not even needed. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's a bit of Liverpool-Man City rivalry.
Yeah, I don't like Trent, and I'll shout out Trent.
Really? That has not come across in any of the things you just said about him.
Pretty bad guy.
I'm going to move this along away from footballers' wives, however much I enjoy the footballer gossip.
Trent's not got a wife. He's too busy with pregnant ladies.
I'm going to move this on. It's very obvious when I'm doing an edit point.
Got the two
renegades together.
Yeah.
I'm quite enjoying this. You're like the unproducibles.
Idiots.
Absolutely. It's yeah. I'm going to move this on to the games we saw in the round of 16. I'm going to start with the Netherlands, who played probably their most exciting game so far. They've been a bit dull so far, but they've been sort of efficient. They've been very Van Gaal. It's been sort of very Van Gaal, very negative, very sort of... Did you watch this game?
I don't know what you just said or what that means.
So Van Gaal is a manager. He's quite a sort of like negative manager. It's very side-by-side, passy, very defensive, very slow football, very boring football. And he's the manager of the Netherlands now.
Used to be manager of United.
Used to be the manager of United. So yeah, one of your old guard.
One of my boys.
Good to look up. The Netherlands beat the USA 3-1. The USA really didn't turn up in this game. I'm not sure if you saw the game. It was a while ago, to be fair, but it was probably the best the Netherlands have looked so far. What do we think about the Netherlands as prospects in the World Cup?
Who would they play after?
So the next round is Argentina for Netherlands.
I think they probably should just stop.
I
hope they win because that would be fun because it would shake things up and people would get upset. But I
don't know. Argentina 2-1 win against Australia. Australia genuinely...
Argentina are weak.
They're very, very poor this year. I mean, they've literally just relied on Messi for that game, and Messi did sort of turn it on. I mean, he walked for most of it. I mean, I think he's the only person on a pitch that couldn't sort of fill like 3,000 steps on a pitch. He just sort of stands. He's unbelievable. So intelligent and one of the best football players on earth, obviously. But he doesn't look like he tries, and I quite respect him for that. Anyway, I don't think Argentina look that good, and I don't actually think Netherlands look supremely strong, but this is actually the best they've looked. So I think actually the form team going into this is the Netherlands. I think they could create a little bit of an upset there.
Yeah.
I've been banging on about the Netherlands being underdogs for this whole World Cup, so I'm basically just trying to...
You just want us to say the Netherlands... Yeah, Netherlands are going to win, absolutely. I feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
I'm tired of the VTs about Messi and him being the best.
Oh, tell me about it.
I'm so sick of that. So for that reason, I think I'd like the Netherlands to win.
You'd like the Netherlands?
Big orange guy, like orange stuff.
Yeah, it's a good kit.
Lovely kit.
It's a good kit.
I love De Jong, their pundit that the ITV have
yeah, he's been very good so far. Yeah.
I can't really give you more of a sensible...
That's fair enough.
Gakpo's pretty good.
Yeah, Gakpo is good.
Gakpo, sorry. Yeah.
That's all right. It's fine. He's relatively new to us. I think he's sort of been... I'm not sure if he's Serie A. I'm not quite sure where he plays his football, but he's very good.
Have they got the strike power?
More... Well, I'd argue that Argentina hasn't really shown that yet.
Messi, though.
They've got Messi, but Messi did one thing, and that was a goal.
I'll do you a bold statement.
Oh, do a bold statement for us.
It'll be 0-0 or 1-1, and it'll go to penalties.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't think that's a bold statement.
Boring.
I think that's the most likely.
I think penalties are fun because people like me can watch and go, they're going to kick the ball and if it goes in, lovely stuff. And if they don't, ruh-roh.
They are exciting.
I do like a penalty shootout. There's tension in the air when a penalty shootout.
Everyone always sulks when I love them. I think they're fantastic.
Well, when Morocco can knock out a team like Spain, which we'll move on to a bit later, but I mean, that's the joy of it. Like Morocco defend for a whole game and then win on a penalty shootout to knock out probably one of the top teams in this tournament. That's unbelievable.
Did you catch that one?
I did not catch that one, but I do have a theory on this whole World Cup business.
Yeah, go on.
Ooh.
Because if you think about it, because we're doing... this is my hot take that it's going to be all over The Athletic tomorrow. Because the World Cup is happening in winter and normally it doesn't.
Yep.
What's happened is everyone's so tired because they're in the middle of the Premier League and now they're all just like, I'm so tired. And so they're all doing shit. So all these teams where it's like your local hairdresser is on the national team. They are absolutely smashing it and they're doing so well because they're not all sad and tired and upset because they're being bullied on the internet. I mean, maybe they are, but not for football reasons.
I mean...
It's
a good point. I mean, when was the African Cup of Nations? That was in March, wasn't it? Sort of like February, March time. Yep. So there's been a break. And the African season, I imagine, will start a bit later. I don't really know when the African season starts.
Morocco were my sweepstakes team, so I have a lot of love for those guys. Those three players on that team that I know.
Good. I mean, they are one of the teams where it's illegal to be gay. Anyway.
Morocco?
Yeah.
Lovely little Marrakesh.
You'll be hard pressed to find countries these days where it's not illegal.
Particularly African countries. But I sort of they're an interesting team. They made a political statement actually during this. They did a picture with the Palestine flag, which has been a sort of an undercurrent of the Palestine-Israel sort of thing, is that quite a lot of African teams have been protesting.
Interesting.
Using protest at a World Cup, but yet no sanctions have been applied.
Oh my God.
How interesting. Well, not as at the time of recording, no sanctions have been applied. But yeah, no one said much about this very political statement.
Yeah, pick and choose, innit? But FIFA don't need us, do they? So.
I think this one has less bumming in, so I think they're less uncomfortable about
You
it.
don't know what the rate of
True.
homosexuality is like in Palestine. It might be absolutely mental over there.
Well, they would with the Palestine flag. What are you talking about?
So they posed to the Palestine flag in support of Palestine.
That's so confusing.
What's the is there is this like a horrible thing that I don't know about in terms of the connection between Palestine and like...
I don't know much about the history between sort of North.
We'll just kick
North
the top off the
Africa.
turd, let it smell, and
But yeah,
and walk out the room.
That's a horrible expression.
it's still a political statement.
No, it is
And that's more the point.
Ridiculous.
Regardless of what the history is between the nations, I think I'm interested just to see how that grows, because that's quite a political statement.
I think I'd prefer the England team get kicked out for showing solidarity with their queer fans than win, to be honest, at this point. It just feels a bit like, oh, you're not going to get your big fun pay, but like
When we're 4-0 down to France, that's when they put the armbands
they're like,
on.
hey
And they're
guys,
like, yeah.
turns out we were thinking about you the whole time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kane.
Maybe that'll do it. So we obviously saw France beat Poland. They look pretty strong. I think France are a pretty tricky opponent for us, aren't they? Oh, you have something on
The
this.
French dispatch Poland.
I don't know what that means. I understand it is a cultural reference, but I don't actually know.
Pun and a pun on a film. He doesn't like films.
Yeah, that's lost on me, I'm afraid. I've seen
The French
3
Dispatch, the film.
Is that the one about the drug dealers and there's those cars and there's no soundtrack?
No.
Okay.
films. Is this
That's
you?
to 10.
No, it's
think-
not that.
no.
It's called The French Connection.
Yeah, maybe that.
And I hated it.
No. This is a Wes Anderson. French Dispatch was a Wes Anderson film.
Oh, so it's kind of like a sort of news
Anyway,
headline
they beat
pun.
Poland, didn't
They
they?
did beat Poland.
French Dispatch Poland.
And it was actually probably, again, France looked very good in this game, and it did make you think, oh, I don't really want to play France. But then we went and beat Senegal 3-0 and looked very good after 20 minutes.
Senegal also press in a very scary manner. Like they come at you in I feel like we send like 1 or 2 like tall people at them and go, quick, go get them. And then Senegal, they're like, oh, we should just do it as a team because we're a team. And they just all come at one person.
You're completely right, because
Billy Foden.
the first 20 minutes they pressed us, and it really suited us because no teams press us.
Yeah.
And it really helps us because it makes gaps behind the defence, and it means that people can make runs. Even Henderson can make a run. It's like it's quite remarkable that was their tactic, having seen teams like USA set up incredibly defensively and just basically bore us out to a 0-0 draw and actually look the better side. So I think if I was the Senegalese manager, I would have looked at that and gone, let's close them out, let's not press them. But they pressed, and as soon as we get a goal, England, this year, we seem to just turn into a different team. Like, we don't fold, we just get more and more confident. And so we need to score the first goal against France.
That always seems to be the case. Like we're like driven by the first goal, and then we decide from then whether it's going to happen.
We don't recover. Like when we
Very
conceded against like Hungary, we didn't recover to go and win.
Yeah, no, well, that was friendly. Can you really equate it to the same team?
No, not really. But I think you have to look at the history. We don't go behind very often.
No, we don't.
So you have to look at the situations where we have done, which was in the Nations League.
Yeah.
But
If France get the first goal, we're probably stuffed, I would say.
I
agree with you.
I think France, if they score, and they can, because they have got Kylian Mbappe, who's a bit good.
But we're pretty bloody good.
We are this
Right?
year.
We enjoy the pressure. I think as a team we get off on that. That's what kind of makes it more exciting. I think sometimes we can be a bit arrogant and we walk out like, oh yeah, we're going to take them down, and then they got a score and we're like, what? Like
They're not allowed to do this.
Yeah, like a bit of colonialism in our team.
Yeah.
It's like, what are they doing?
Happy and glorious. That's the line. I think we are looking pretty solid, actually. I think we've scored the most out of any team. That might have been before the Portugal game, but Portugal have scored very little until that.
Yeah, I think we're still top scorers.
So I think we're still top goal scorers, but I do need to double check that. But yes, we have scored the most, which is mad because it doesn't feel like we have in any of the games we've watched. We had a 0-0 in there as well, but because we won 6-2 in the first game, and we beat Wales comfortably, we beat
Who was
them.
on 0-0? US.
Yeah.
So we have put together some good results, and we are scoring, which is exciting. bloody hell, did anyone watch the Portugal game?
Against Korea. Yeah.
That's the best I've ever seen Portugal play. They are the most boring team ordinarily. I'd never seen Portugal play like
I always
that.
thought Portugal were meant to be a good team, but this is, as I say, coming from someone who, one, didn't watch that game, and two, has never watched Portugal play in any particular way.
So the way they won the Euros is by just defending and nicking a goal.
Is that who we played in the Euros?
A long while, not this Euros,
okay.
a while ago Euros. I can't remember which Euros it was.
2008.
2008. They were and the same manager is in charge at the moment, I believe.
Yep.
And they've always been quite a 1-0.
Yeah. Same guy.
Yeah, he took himself off for this game. It's a very 1-0, they're a very 1-0, 2-0 team. Absolutely. I mean, they did actually beat Switzerland 4-0 in the Nations League, but as we said, the Nation Leagues are friendlies, and then Switzerland beat them 1-0.
I was going to say,
before.
Switzerland, I don't consider a
footballing nation. Yeah.
They have beaten Portugal in recent memory in this year. It was. I mean, no one was expecting that. Switzerland defended dreadfully. I don't think I've ever seen a team just not handle.
Was it? Well, there's a few things in this particular game. It's Ronaldo benching himself and this young man Gonzalo Ramos.
Yes.
Did he bench himself? Is that a thing, or you did
No. Did he fuck?
Guys, we need
Ronaldo would never bench himself.
I don't understand jokes. Okay. First and foremost,
he fell out with the coach. I think.
Falls out with everyone.
Well,
I think he's a pretty unlikable guy. Maybe it's you, Cristiano.
I think he's very
Says
much
the courts.
He's coming to the end of his career now, and he's just going down swinging, isn't he?
He's also had. I'm gonna step in for Ronaldo, even though I hate him. But he has been through quite a lot this year.
He
and
has.
I feel like this to me looks like a man who doesn't have to deal with his emotions very often, just acting out, and in the only way that he knows how, which is by being a rich dickhead. But it does. I don't want to forgive him for his past evils, but just this year, I'm like, he's acting like such a baby that I feel like it's probably coming from a genuine place, but he doesn't know how to deal with that because he is a man.
It has been a hard year, and Liverpool fans commended for the way that they supported him through that, as he said in his Piers Morgan interview. Isn't it funny how? I think you're right. I think it is that kind of speaking out from a place of sort of genuine trauma this year.
What's happened?
So he lost his.
Oh, right, yeah.
He lost his kid. Absolutely devastating for any footballer. And I think
he was playing. It was
Person.
I swear he played.
Oh, yeah.
Like the week later, and I think was that when he got the hat trick.
I think he scored. I can't remember it being a hat trick or not.
Playing and me being like, God, that's a bit early.
He pointed. I remember him pointing to the sky. It was very emotive. It's been a horrific year
Seems
for
like
him.
someone who uses sport to distract himself.
I turned to a friend when I was watching that game against Switzerland, and I said, I hope in a way Portugal win it, but Ronaldo sits on the bench because he's going to win it and feel like he didn't earn it, and that's going to burn on his horrible soul for the rest of his life.
I think he'll be easy. I don't think he'll read it like that.
I don't think he's a reflective person.
No.
I've no sympathy for him, really.
To move this on to a fun fact, oldest goal scorer of the World Cup ever in a knockout phase with Pepe at 39 years of age, and Ramos was that's the biggest age gap between two goal scorers ever in World Cups here. So Pepe scored a header, I think it was a header, normally is.
Yeah,
39 years of age, and Ramos is 21, so that was the biggest age gap between. Genuinely, could be a father and a son.
Funner fact about Pepe: slept in the same bed as his mum till he was 17.
That's so weird. That's like
Came out in an interview.
As in, like, for reasons of.
This is so gossipy. This episode.
But is that is it gossipy, or is it just us revealing that he's got some sort of traumatic past in which they couldn't afford more than one?
No. He sort out mum, and slept in the same bed as her.
Okay.
At 17 years old.
Well, I mean, if I think about all the like kids I used to teach who were like on youth teams, I feel like there probably is an element of emotional stunting that happens when you are that successful at something so young.
I'm loving. This is really like.
I'm just trying to get my way through this piece of information.
This is really balanced. I like
widely
it.
reported as well. It's not just from Lou's locker of mental facts. He said it in his interview.
As long as he's happy.
I do feel that. Does anyone want to know any lawyers? Does anyone know any lawyers before this goes out?
I bet we get sued for the thing that is like not even the most outrageous thing we said, like me saying he's the most ugly man I've ever seen. I'm going to get caught, and they're like, "What about this man? Isn't he?" I'm going to be that.
It wasn't 2008. It was 2007.
Can I just say, disclaimer, some of these facts may not be facts, but quite a lot of them are. Another fun fact, I think that Gonçalo Ramos looks like John McGinn, but like the Portuguese brother.
Oh, yeah. Stretched out.
Yeah, a little bit stretched out and a little bit, just facially, I was like, that looks like John McGinn, but Portuguese.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to get caught on.
See, there we go. That's going to be the big take that everyone gets
Down the cargo door.
Gets a bit nervous about. Sorry, I'm just going to check time because I haven't actually given myself. Oh, we're doing all right. Oh, don't worry, guys, got a match. Should we live look at a match?
See, I'm doing that thing where I'm.
What do we think?
Games.
S. Belgium.
I thought we were talking about football.
He's Belgian. He speaks Dutch. I'm in.
His name is S, which makes me think serial killer.
Oh, he's not put his full name out.
Yeah.
But isn't that like on Grindr?
It'll be something like Sven or something. Oh yeah, on Grindr you don't even get a face. I'm delighted to get a face.
Like
there.
A year.
Yeah.
Obviously the year they were born. It's just a year.
You don't even get a year.
First body was found.
You get like their sexual position and what they want to do with you within the first message.
Men are wild. Like you guys, I absolutely don't know how you live.
I don't live like that.
No, but like men in general.
Anymore. We remember
you
progress. Let's not shame the men who like to be
No,
sexual
absolutely not.
online.
Yeah, crack on.
I don't mind sexual men online as long as they keep it to them fucking selves without permission. But I'm just saying
why I don't
how
like
you
that.
guise, how any of you are still alive. It's beyond me.
I've been essentially abstinent all year, so I'm very much not. Thank you. It's been great.
I'm not sure if it was a choice or not.
Sort of. I've been very busy.
I was going to be like, and this is a wonderful cut point, Joe.
It's a very busy year. We'll soon find out. Right, I'm going to talk about the quarterfinals.
Okay.
Because we have got some quarterfinals coming up. Tonight, as you are listening to this, we've got Croatia v Brazil.
Ooh.
That's going to be interesting because Croatia have very much scabbed their way through the Japan game. We didn't really touch on the Japan game. That was a very odd game.
Yeah, it was on during the day, so I couldn't really watch it. I was doing it. But I wanted Japan to go through.
I think everyone does. Everyone loves Japan. Their fans are
money
gorgeous.
On them to win, and then
Did you?
the odds changed very quickly, and I was like, oh dear.
What's your PL balance? Do you know?
I don't know what that means.
Have you bet more than you've lost?
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, when I started, I was so careful. I was like looking at my boyfriend, just throwing money at Bet365. Like, other gambling apps are available, but they're not.
But if you are listening from Bet365, happily sponsor the podcast.
Give me £200 free bet credit. You'll get it back in a day.
Paddy power.
Also
they had some good deals on, but it's not important. But
do gamble responsibly.
Because I didn't. When I started, I was so careful. Like I would do little penny bets, I'd do like small bets with like big return. I was just like, I'm so clever. And my boyfriend's like, that's not going to keep happening for you. And I was like, whatever. So I made like £250 in the first couple of weeks.
Oh wow!
And then slowly but surely, how it disappeared. And now I don't. I must have put in hundreds, and I have nothing to show for it.
All of a sudden, you're getting itchy as you're reading an article.
I started getting really stroppy with my boyfriend. He'd casually say something. I'm like, you said that so and so would get a card. He was like, I was like talking to the cat. I was talking to myself, and I'm like, don't even talk to me with your lies.
You sound very chilled out to live with.
Gambling's great. Yeah,
I love gambling. It's like one of my favourite things.
It's one avenue to get new people into the sport.
Yeah, do you know, I'm always up for new people getting into sport. It's why I'm excited to have you on, Alice. Gambling is also comes with its dangers, and those should be outlined by the people like gambleaware.com.
To be fair, I went from gambling to be interested in football to being part of my boyfriend's fantasy league to be interested in football. So now I don't gamble as much, but as you know, the fantasy league isn't on, so I am now back to gambling.
Yes.
Which I think is fair.
I find the fantasy leagues too stressful. I don't do them anymore.
It's quite admin-y.
I don't do the money ones where you're given like a little budget. I do the one where it's like you go around in a circle pulling names from the list, and then you make your little team.
It's a bit like Football Manager, but not as fun, I find.
Oh, I love it.
You never play Football Manager? Oh, it will ruin your life.
I'll do that and then
Warnings on
start
this
gambling.
episode.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that's so addictive that and you end up you can start Football Manager and then 2 days will go by and you'll be like, how I've not done anything.
Alice could gamble on your Football Manager results, and then you can both have
that
a sort of
thing?
a joint. Yeah. because
we
they're,
could
they're
do.
not predicted, but I assume.
I mean, it'd be a bit like poker, basically. We'd like make it into
I'm really good at poker because people think I'm stupid.
It'd be you two against the machine.
and people who think that you're stupid are very
Best
stupid.
thing since sliced veg.
Oh my God, that was so dumb.
What a sweetheart he is. What a thick sweetheart.
Oh, I do that whenever I think of Grealish.
I just don't get it. I think it looks like a
What you,
thumb
what,
with teeth.
what you don't like about him?
I think he's a man who drink drives. Not a fan.
Fair enough, yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I know that because I googled when I just realised that Harry Maguire was my son. I googled to see what he'd been up to. He did get into that bar fight and then try and bribe the Greek police. But also, who hasn't?
I'm Harry Maguire.
I've got a soft spot for Harry. I've got a soft spot for anyone. I love a rogue.
They're all good lads, apart from Trent.
Yeah, I didn't realise the full extent of that whole thing. I just thought he had a kink. I didn't realise it was like a not necessarily reciprocated.
He's not married. There's a reason for that. Not a good dad.
Well, he's also very young.
Yeah, but I'm not married. Yeah.
I'm 32 and I'm not even in a relationship. I'm not even having sex, Lou. I don't think you can use age as a barometer for whether they're a good person. So I'm going to move on. So we were talking about Croatia and Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
Who do we think are going to win that one?
Not a fucking clue. Brazil, I guess. Aren't they like one of the best teams?
Yeah, you'd be hard pushed to say Brazil won't win.
I think I would agree. Yeah, I think Brazil, and I think Croatia are just go away. Go away.
They're so annoying, aren't they? They're
Scabby
like
little team.
they're like a
Why
really
are they annoying?
because they are the kind of team that will be 1-0 down for most of the game. They'll score an equaliser and then win on penalties. That is so the
That's
Croatian
horny.
way.
I love that. That's like how I get through life. Whenever I've had any success in my life, it's literally been that I've done like no work. Then someone gives me a slight opportunity. I do a little bit well, and then suddenly they're like, "Would you like this slightly better opportunity?" And I'm like, "Yes, I earned this."
That's the Croatia.
I'm Croatia.
Way. Yeah.
You are Croatia.
Such a Croatia.
But I can't see them beating Brazil.
No, doesn't sound like
I
it.
think they'll dance all over them.
The Netherlands, Argentina, we touched on. I genuinely think Netherlands will win that. Morocco, Portugal will be an interesting one now because obviously Morocco just defend. And that was Portugal's favourite thing to do. But now Portugal, do you think they play Ronaldo?
Oh, very good question. No, I think they stick with Gonçalo Ramos, and they absolutely batter Morocco. I think they absolutely wipe the floor with them and have a lot of confidence going into the game against us when we beat France.
Oh, bold
I do
claim.
have a good feeling, and I don't want to say this and then it like jinxes it for everyone, but I just have, because like throughout the Euros, we're like, because I feel like England walk around with this energy about them that everyone's like, oh, England team's fucking shit. But we've had that since the only thing I ever knew about football, before I was into football was that the England team was shit, and I've known that my whole life. And even when I'm watching them, they're so good at playing, and I'm like, England team fucking shit.
they're not. We're not.
But they're not shit.
We're pretty good.
Like
We're pretty
objectively,
bloody good.
we were in
Do you
the
know what?
final of the Euros.
It's so fresh to have someone who's just come into football, coming in and going, we're not shit, guys.
Let me tell you something about
mean,
France.
Go on.
Oh,
Remember
God.
the war?
This sounds very UKIP. Go on.
I've got a French.
Tell us something about
I've got
France.
a French rifle for sale. Shot what? No, never shot. Dropped once. Something like that. That's a bit of fun. No, Benzema. He's not playing. Their best striker.
Why?
Yeah,
Is he
injured.
injured?
Injured.
They do still have Mbappe.
Pogba. He's not there.
Was he not? But yeah,
I can't think of a suitable replacement for him, but
Injured.
Giroud's doing well.
They're
Pogba is
they're-
a liability.
Exactly, but they're starting left back injured. They're not like Lloris plays for Tottenham. Yeah.
Lloris is also a massive bellend, and I hate him.
Well, what's he done?
So he said that we should respect the culture of
Oh, I think I might
Qatar.
have seen that on your. You might have been the one who posted that.
I posted something about that before. I've had a bit of a rant about Lloris.
Sacre bleu.
So annoying because, like, I was saying to Andrew that Lloris is like a Tottenham player. Tottenham have a really big gay fan group. They're one of the best of
They've
the
got
gay fan groups.
Prem went to see Spurs play, and he got me like a little rainbow. I don't know if I was not on that back, but he got me like the little rainbow flag, and I was like, "That's so cute," because we've seen Palace play and we saw someone else play, and they don't have. I thought maybe that was like a standard thing that everyone has, but they don't.
Not everyone has a sort of a proud sort of
That's
a pride
so
team,
fucking
but
disappointing.
it is a bit disappointing. More and more are popping up, and just the Proudly Whites are a big one, the Tottenham ones. So it just must be really shit for them when they see their sort of their main man in between the sticks, saying something so fucking stupid. Anyway, and
we'll beat them.
I would love it if Lloris scored 3 own goals. That would make me feel so happy if he fumbled it 3 times, and he could do that because he's got it in him.
Who have France played in the lead up to where they are now?
So the last game, France beat Poland, and their group, they lost their last game to Tunisia, didn't they? Yeah. So they are
beatable.
Again, they looked pretty rubbish until that Poland game. That was the best they'd looked. So I think people are starting to kick on a little bit now and become good.
So,
it's going to be great.
The game between England and Senegal are amazing. Like, they are just so incredible at playing. Like, even I'm like a dumb fuck when it comes to football, and I'm like, they are good. I mean, they won the African.
The AFCON, they won AFCON.
Cup thing, I don't know the name of, you just said it. So I'm sort of like, because we're walking around with this image that like England's so shit, but it's like, I don't know, I think we have as good a chance as France do. I think it will be at least an exciting game to watch. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I don't feel like England are a write-off.
No, not at all.
It's going to be odd because they are going to be, apart from Senegal, and you're right, Senegal have been really good this year. They're very defensively normally solid, so it was quite good that we breached them so on. I just think tactics were wrong for Senegal. I think it was really a tactically naive performance.
Without Mane.
Yeah, and they have Mane, who's like unbelievably good player. He used to play for Liverpool. Was pretty much the reason why Liverpool have slightly lost their vibe is because they've lost Mane and they're trying to sort of bed in a new front three.
There you go.
I can't remember. I should know this. Yeah,
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich. Yeah. So yes, I am positive that this is going to be an edgy game. I think both teams will sit off because
I'm really looking forward to it.
This is like one of the games that I'm like very excited.
I'm nervous.
Where are you going to watch it?
I'm going to watch it in my flat with my boyfriend.
Lovely.
Because I can't afford to go out. I'm going to a party in the evening, so I want to save money for that.
Ooh.
Predictions then for scores for the England game.
Well,
Oh God, I don't know. I think it's going to go to penalties. I reckon it'll be a high. Either it'll be like one of those 1-1 then penalties, or it'll be like fucking 3-3 and then penalties. But I think either way, penalties.
Great. I love penalties in England. It's my favourite combination.
My favourite part of any football match. It feels like a little sort of finale.
Yeah, I would agree. 1-1 penalties, and then England.
I think we're going to do them 2-0.
Although
really, that's horny.
Declan Rice is ill. I've been told.
Oh, we're all ill.
But he can't be ill.
I don't know. It will be I think Eric Dyer could do a job. He's not the same as Rice. I'm not saying he's the same as Rice. Rice is obviously the better player, but we need just someone with defensive now, so we don't need someone pushing
Rice
forward.
Is that good? He's on my fantasy league and he's been absolutely useful.
Defensive midfielders never do well in fantasy league.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't mean they're a bad player. It just means that the fantasy league don't have stats that help.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah, you bloody idiot.
I'm sorry.
I was so inclusive of new fans. You fucking idiot.
You know shit, mate.
It's just because I really like Declan Rice. I think I got quite defensive about Declan Rice.
Future England
boyfriend.
Yeah, thank you. He's future boyfriend. We haven't tied the knot.
England captain.
I definitely.
So.
He seems like an absolutely lovely guy as well.
Yeah, nice bloke.
Little babies.
Him and Mount together. Oh, so cute.
Dealt with a lot of heartbreak in his life. He's persevered.
Yeah, he's a gorgeous man. We all like. So basically, you've touched on a Declan Rice.
He's had a lot of
Got dropped by other teams and things like that, and still kept going.
Yeah, he's a proper story of like classic sport perseverance.
And he's got a lovely Thames Estuary accent, which is it's dying out these days. So it's just nice to hear.
I don't know what that means.
He just seems like
He's just a nice geezer.
he's just a nice
White geezer. You seem nice.
Oh, that is quite cute. Okay, yeah, no, I do. That's quite sweet.
So I feel like we've
Google him
warmed you
later.
over
That's
to
quite sweet.
Declan Rice. Do want him to sort his hair out though. Right, just a bit too big on the top.
Fair.
Just want it to just be trimmed down a
Like
little bit.
Grealish.
I mean, his hair's awful.
Okay, good.
It's really bad.
Just great calves. You can't ignore the calves.
I don't understand why people like calves. I think it's creepy.
He can't fuck you with his calves, Joe.
No,
Well,
you could.
have you tried?
Not like penetratively. Sure.
Rub on you, I suppose. Yeah.
Just like you could do some delicate rotations.
Not the way he likes
You
it.
could do it between. Anyway.
Great. I'm going to talk about your stand-up careers now.
Oh, good.
Which one?
So we were all at Edinburgh this year, and I feel like we've talked about the football. It'd
The
be nice
World
to-
Cup of Comedy.
the World Cup of Comedy. It was a tough old year for all of us. I think just because it's hard doing the Edinburgh Fringe. Not that we had bad fringes. I didn't get to see your show, Lou, because we clashed. No, we didn't. I just didn't get to see your show. I saw your show. I absolutely adored it. Are you doing it again in London?
No, it is done. I never want to do it again. I'm sick to death of making friends with strangers because I've realised that I might not be in the same space I was in 2019.
So just to give an idea, you wrote a show in 2019 about marrying...
Well, it's about like making friends because I don't think I'm very good at making friends. And then at the end of it, there was like a whole twist where I would like, it was mainly crowd work with like bits of material. And then I would start talking to people in the audience and then people who responded well to me. Basically, I ended up having like a friend wedding and I would marry them. And then there would be people in the audience who were like the vicar and someone might be like depending on how vibey the audience works, if they were like useless, then I would just marry someone and then we'd get on with it. But sometimes you'd get like loads of people on stage and you get like a best man and like you'd get someone who would object because it was like their boyfriend or girlfriend or something like that. But then I realised I wrote and started that in 2019, then pandemic happened, then I carried on doing it this year and I was like, why do I not feel it anymore?
Yeah.
And it was because I didn't want to make friends with strangers anymore. I just wanted to sit alone in my house and
What a lovely bleak. I love
my show. I think it's really fun, but
I adored your show. I love your shows because they're super interactive, but you do it in a way where the audience feels incredibly safe. So it's very hard to do audience work where the audience want to join in, and you can make a room want to join in. Because whenever you go into a comedy gig, you can sometimes sense in an audience trepidation. And when you're a comedian in the audience of a friend's comedy gig, there's a sort of certain reading of the room you do. You go, I think they're going to be an arsehole. I think they don't want to be.
Spot them,
you can. There's a sort of sixth sense for it. So it's really lovely seeing you you break the fourth wall immediately as people walk into the room. You're just talking to them, and I love doing that myself. There's a really fun way you can win them over early and then set them up, and then you just immediately you're just great with them. I love watching you live. I haven't seen. You're also one of those people who can just interact with an audience a lot, Lou. I remember watching your show 3 years ago. I was blown away, and I was sort of like, oh my god, this guy's ridiculous. Your brain works differently. Yeah. How did you find? Because your show Soft Lad, are you doing that again?
Yes, I'll be filming it.
You're filming it?
Yeah, in the new year.
In the new year, have you got a location plan?
Between two places at the minute, so I'll just got to decide on that.
It's so worth.
It'll be in London. It'll be in London town, and I might do one in Manchester, but not film that one. But I'm in the exact same boat as you. Now this show is done. I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about.
Glad I had that on the running.
No, it was a hard show to perform, not only because it's the debut, but it was just the 3 years in between with the COVID, things happen, and then that sort of makes comedy put into perspective for me. But now I'm very much enjoying writing new and getting back to silly self as opposed to, I don't know. I enjoyed Edinburgh. I'd do it again, but it's so bloody expensive, John.
Yeah, I don't think I would do... I mean, I didn't even do the full run in the end because I left like 3 days early because I was like, I absolutely cannot stand this.
The model it's broken at the minute, and I don't know, something really needs to happen with it because I don't see myself being able to go next year for sure, and then maybe the year after.
For those who don't know how Edinburgh works, you pay a venue, you pay rent, which is about double what you'd pay in London for a month. So it's normally it's between 1,500 and
double what you'd pay anywhere in the country.
Yeah, which is again double. So it's around about $2,000. It's very expensive, and then you add on top. You're quite often sinking a minimum of 10 grand into an Edinburgh run.
Oh yeah, easy.
And that's minimum. It is a huge expense to artists, and and every year the rent is going up. Every year the venues costs are going up. Every year PR is going up. If you're going to do PR, if you're going to do production, which is something, it's actually a really helpful thing. I didn't do production this year. I did production myself. I so wish I did production.
Yeah, I had it. Yeah.
So there's lots. The production is basically generating posters and all that sort of stuff. So there's a whole process around Edinburgh Fringe. Now, I haven't actually had a chance to sort of talk about this in a more formal setting like a podcast.
About the World Cup.
About the World Cup, but I'm gonna somehow steer this towards writing a show about sport.
Okay.
Because I wrote a whole show about sport, and I wrote a show about how it made me feel, and obviously I wrote my show similarly to you, Lou, in 2019 when I was going to debut it. Then we had the pandemic, so I had to rewrite it for my debut. And yeah, doing a show every day at the Fringe to varying degrees of success and audience is one of the hardest things I've ever done.
It's not fun anymore. It's not a piss up anymore. It's like, I've got to go to bed now. It's 11. And
is that because we're at a point in our comedy careers where we have to do that, or do you think it's just because everyone's so sad, or both?
Mixture of both. Fair. Probably.
Mixture
of both.
So you're going to be doing Soft Lad at some point. So just imagine, what are your socials, Lou?
at Lew Fitz and that Lew Fitz on Twitter. Don't go on Instagram.
Instagram.
Look at the old good biscuit.
Lew Fitz with a Z at the end. You'll see that in the bio of this. And Alice India.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Oh yes, I remember your palaver with this.
There are 2 Alice India comedies on Instagram.
Oh dear.
One is called Alice India Comedy, and she's now got less than 1,000 followers. And then there's popular comedian Alice India. Now, yeah, so Alice India Comedy forgot to change her email address from her job 8 years before. She then sent a series of frankly, I harassed them to my old job, asking for them to create a new email for me with the same email so I could get access to that account. They won't let me. I'm locked out forever. And so my actual one is popular comedian Alice India, but I'm also on TikTok as AIG though, but though spelled THO, because I'm pretty fun. So please.
Get a lot of people.
Like the right account.
So you're recording. Are you? So
got some whips. If you
I'd love
me to plug.
Absolutely, I'd love you to.
Feb 4th, Feb 5th, Vaults Festival, The Glitch, I think it's called, 8 p.m. I'm doing a show. It's called. It's a collection of new jokes, I hope, and writing the hour, getting that together for the second hour. What's it called? Lew Fitz. I think it's called Lew Fitz. There's something about that lad, or I think it's called Lew Fitz. Sit down straight while you're talking to me. I think that's the actual name of the title. So check that out. Google it, and I'm gonna redo my website over Christmas because it's shit, and I feel more confident in my body now, so I'll take different pictures.
Lovely.
Okay.
Are you writing a show at the moment? Are you sort of having a bit of a time?
Got a new website.
You got a new website? You getting new images taken?
I've never had a website, so I don't.
Do you not?
No, because I don't know. Who cares what I'm doing?
AIG's taken. I've looked it up.
Is that because it's
big insurance group? Yeah.
You're not funny, Lew Fitz.
Although
it took me like a half second to be like, oh no, that's such a shame. I wonder who did that.
They sponsored United for years during the glory years.
Isn't that ING?
IAG.
ING is a.
Then who's AIG?
Dutch.
AIG.
Or a insurance group.
The insurance group.
I mean, you would know. I wouldn't. I don't know anything.
And then Chevy with a new one.
We're going through the Man United sponsors.
Sharp were great. Sorry.
Are the kits nicer depending on who's sponsored?
Don't worry, we're rounding up.
I'm so sorry.
This is the longest. Right.
You've brought on
AIG.
2 of the most chaotic and quite frankly mentally ill people that you've on the same episode. It's like asking a kid who can't focus to focus. Like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be the dad and you've let this happen. In what world did you think this was going to happen?
I've never on bills together for this reason. I haven't seen Alice in years.
Yeah, 'cause we're not on the same lineup. We bring the same.
Can I just say, I think my daddy energy has been very chilled out today.
I don't think you're being highly strung at all. However, I do think that you've made a terrible decision in booking us both together. But it is so nice to see you. I'm glad you're doing well.
I didn't say.
Just filling in the gaps.
Thanks.
Yes, I am writing a show. Originally, it was going to be about the time I got kidnapped, but Neil O'Rourke said that he felt too sorry for me when I told him the story. So we're not doing it about being kidnapped. But I think I want to do it about... I was thinking of calling it Alice India Rut Row, because I thought it'd be like, Rut Row. But I don't know what to do it about. It'd probably just be me chatting shit. Please round it up.
So...
Please end the podcast.
So, please, thank you. I've gone to
We
shop.
held it together for such a long time. We were so focused. The minute you started bringing up comedy, you fucked.
Who do you think's going to win the World Cup, Joe?
Yeah, Joe, who do you think's going to win the
The
World
World Cup, I think, will be won. God, I've lost the world.
By sport.
I think, the sport will be the winner. No, I think it's going to... I've been backing the Netherlands. I think they'll just sneak it.
Do you reckon?
I think it's unlikely, but I think the Netherlands would be...
I don't know. I want it to be England, so I'm just going to say England. England will win.
I'll go England again.
No,
I think we're
this is the most confident podcast I've ever heard. Guys, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. If you do want to see more of these lovely, lovely people, I can't recommend them enough. They are both superb live as well, so do go and watch them. If you're interested in seeing my special, it is out now on YouTube for free. If you do want to put some money in the Ko-fi for this podcast, that'd be super helpful. There'll be a link in the bio. So yes, do watch my special. All links are on my YouTube, Joseph Parsons Comedy, which I think is also my Instagram and everything else. So if you want that, do go and watch it. But until next time, goodbye.
Big Sport Pod.
I don't know where to look.
Look at that camera.
Down the gun.
Thank you so much for watching and or listening to this podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please consider donating to the Ko-fi link in the episode description. It will just hopefully help me make more of these. I produce and make all of them myself. It all comes out of my own wallet at the moment, and it is quite expensive, so I'd like to be able to make this a regular thing. So if you want to help me do that, please consider donating. Anyway, I love you lots. Until next time, goodbye!